Hey, I know you guys like this new audio track. That intro goes hard. Welcome back to the TCP Podcast. This is Tyler Clark with TC Performance, and I appreciate you guys for joining back in. Going forward, I think I'm going to try to mix up the intro music pretty much every episode, give you guys a new vibe, a new feel. I'm liking this one a lot, though, so may make another appearance. But my episodic reminder to you guys is please go do your thing, go rate, review, share this podcast with anybody and everybody you can think of. Go tell your friend to tell their mother to tell their doctor about this show, because the more people that can hear this, the better. I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. So please screenshot it, share it on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever it is. Repost it, tag me in it. I'll make sure to repost it as well. So that's my episodic reminder. Now, as for episode 4, I'm super happy and excited to share with you guys this episode in particular because I was able to sit down with an extremely close friend of mine, Bryton Early. Yes, we'll get it out the way. His name is Bryton Early, like, oh my God, we're waking up Bryton Early to go do something. Yes, that is his name. It's very unique, and I love it personally, but it definitely gets... there's some overkill with it. People definitely you use that little pun a little too much. But yes, he has a dope name. Bryton is a dope dude. And I'm super excited about this episode because he was cool enough and kind enough to be very open about his struggle with mental health. And that's what this episode is all about. About kind of the ugly, beautiful, terrible struggles and amazing struggles about sports and the mental battles that come with sports. Just some background information on Bryton. He and I have known each other since about freshman year of high school. I ended up transferring to Somersworth High School my junior year. Him and I played together there, won a state championship. But before all of that, he is an exceptional athlete. He's an exceptional basketball player. He's been exposed to extremely high-level training with the likes of Noah LaRoche. If you don't know who Noah is, please go Google him, go check him out. He is the founder and owner of Integrity Hoops. And he started very locally in New Hampshire, a smaller business, but now it has grown to a very lucrative and expanded into a massive company and business with Integrity Hoops out in California now. He trains the likes of like Russell Westbrook, JaVale McGee, Georges Niang, Duncan Robinson, Diana Taurasi, Kelsey Plum, just to name a few. So as you can tell, he's a very high-level guy. So Bryton was exposed to that kind of training from a very young age, around 3rd grade. And because of that, I think that it helped mold him as the player that he is today. His IQ is very high. He's a crazy athlete. He has a very good feel for the game. And just, he really separates himself from others. And you can tell whenever he plays the game of basketball. To continue, though, we talk about what exactly sport meant to him, what basketball meant to him, how it helped him grow as a person, how it kind of messed him up as a person, the struggles with sports. He was kind of ridden with injury. That was unfortunately a very big theme in his career. He tore his ACL when he was in 5th grade and actually played on it for 3 years until ultimately getting full ACL reconstructive surgery. So he's been ridden with injury, to say the least. After high school, went to Plymouth State, and he ended up getting injured there. And then even this prior year, he got injured again. So him and I talk about that a little bit, the mental process and the psychological aspect of rehab and how important that is and what his journey looks like. And some more things, how to interpret body language, the misinterpretation of body language, what mental toughness really is, finding your passion outside of basketball, not identifying with your sport, a lot of really, really good things. So tune into this, be tapped in the whole time, get some notes out, whatever you want, or just enjoy it. Bryton and I just chopped it up. It's a real raw conversation, and I think you guys will enjoy it a lot. So without further ado, let's get it. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 4 of the TCP Podcast. This is Tyler Clark with TC Performance, and I'm with my guy, Bryton early. Bryton and I played high school basketball together. We've known each other since, I don't know, probably before we got into high school. Known each other for a while. He's one of my guys. He's my family. Consider him my brother. So I'll let Bryton introduce himself, give a little background information on himself. So the floor is yours.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. It's real cool for me. We've always talked about this. This is dope. Yeah. So my name's Bryton Early. Yeah. Crazy name. Yeah. Started off, I'm from Rollinsford, Somersworth, New Hampshire. I've been an athlete my whole life. I'm a middle child. I got 2 brothers, 2 sisters. 1 older sister, 1 older brother, 1 younger sister, 1 younger brother. So I kind of learned all aspects of being a sibling at a younger age and being being pretty cool. It was fun. It was fun having a lot of different outlets, you know. I had an older brother, older sister. So I had a lot of different conversations, younger brother, younger sister, a lot of different responsibilities. It was cool. Yeah, that's pretty much me. Family man. I'm going to school, playing college ball, Division III at St. Joe's College of Maine. Yeah, class of 2023. Happy to be here, man. That's crazy that we doing this. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that. So some more background on Bryton. He said he's been an athlete his whole life. He's been a very high level athlete since he was, 3rd grade, right? He doesn't like to name drop, or he's a very humble dude, but he's been working with a guy named Noah LaRoche since he was in 3rd grade, who is the founder of Integrity Hoops. He works with the likes of Russell Westbrook, JaVale McGee, Nerlens Noel, George Niang,
Diana
Taurasi,
Kelsey Plum.
Yeah, he works with a lot of very high level athletes. He consults a lot of people, breaks down film, creates offenses for a lot of different programs. So he's been exposed to the likes of training like that since he was very, very young. So to say he's a high level basketball player with high level of experience is kind of to say the least. He, like you said, grew up in Somersworth, Rollinsford area. Him and I met, like I said, right around high school. I transferred over to Somersworth my sophomore year. My junior year. Him and I played our junior year. And senior year, him and I won a championship our senior year. Yes, and if you want to talk a little bit about that year, why don't we start the whole journey there? He was an 1,000-point scorer, first team. Like I said, we got state championship there. And talk a little bit about. We don't have to start there, actually. Talk a little bit about your experience from a young age, being coached by Noah, being coached by your dad, because I know he was a big impact for you as well.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I was just exposed to the sport at a very young age. I got to watch a lot of players who were older than me. I got to watch, like you said, Noah and my dad and Noah's brothers and just everybody who was around them and who was around Integrity Hoops. I kind of just watched everybody grow with it, and it kind of helped me grow very rapidly at a very young age, I would say, I guess. I just really had a urge to be on the level of the people I was around, and I think that kind of elevated me and gave me that motivation to be a very good player at a very young age. And I don't know, basketball was always the something that I was just attracted to the sport. I liked how the players looked on the court. I liked the swag. I liked the finesse of the sport, and yeah, I liked it better than soccer. I used to play soccer for a little bit, but basketball was the one for me. Yeah.
So if you want to talk about dive a little bit deeper into basketball and kind of what that means to you, and how that's kind of molded your lifestyle, because since such a young age you have been exposed to pretty much basketball, and there's a culture behind basketball and hoopers in general. So talk a little bit about what basketball means to you and how that's kind of molded you as a person.
Yeah. Sheesh, yeah. It's like with everybody else. Like I learned how to really work. I learned how if I really wanted to be something or do something, I really had to do it a lot. I had to get reps up. I learned that when you were tired, you got to keep going. And I learned that there's always going to be somebody outworking you if you're not working. So you had to always work. But I also learned that I think the biggest takeaway that basketball gave me wasn't even like about a focus on basketball. It was like it taught me that there's more than basketball. Because initially in my life, I think basketball was everything to me, and that was such a passion and such a drive to be a good person in the classroom, a good person in socially and to everybody else, just so I could be a better basketball player, and a better basketball player could help me be a better person. But I think the biggest thing I took from basketball is there's not just basketball, but basketball can help you in a lot of aspects, like socially and being diligent, working. I really think basketball really helped me want to be a better person. That's kind of what it means to me. And as I grow older, I think it now is helping me stay in shape. Now it's helping me stay motivated and making me feel like I'm a part of a team. I always like that aspect. Like a brotherhood, I always like that. So yeah, I really think it's just a passion of mine since I was a little boy.
Yeah, I think with a lot of organized sports in general, they have a lot of different values and things that you learn and pick up from coaches, from your teammates, from whoever is involved. And it's also cool, like, I know you played AAU, integrity as well. Like, they travel a lot. You see it a lot of different things, a lot of different people. Even if it's within the same country, like you go to different states, see like different cultures within states.
Yeah.
It can help mold you as a person. And I think using sports as that outlet is a very cool thing, and that's like an underrated aspect of sports that sometimes I feel like we take for granted. But with that taken out of the way, what basketball sort of means to you, the focus of this podcast in my mind was a little bit more the mental health side of sports and sports psychology in general. And Bryton dealt with some pretty crazy injuries early on. When did you tear your ACL?
Yeah, I partially tore my ACL. I want to say they said it was like 5th grade, and then I played on it for 3 years, and then it fully snapped. All the rest of it was out of there, and then I got surgery May 29th, I believe, 2014. Full ACL reconstructive surgery. Sprained MCL, sprained PCL, I think crazy stuff like that. I'm not really too sure, but it was just a lot of damage in the knee. And that's when my mental health kind of started going like all over the place, because it was a steady and consistent kind of just drive and passion and no give up, no mercy, no step on the brakes. And then this was the first real, like, oh my God, I might not be able to play. I might not, it was like a big stop sign to me at first. So that was kind of a scary moment. And that led me down a path of, well, what else am I good at? And that's when my mental health was like, dang, I don't want to just be a basketball player. Because a lot of people, there's always been like, oh, if you play sports, as a me being a biracial, I'm black and I'm white, so I'm a light skin. A lot of people say, oh, what else is this young black kid gonna do other than rap, this, that, basketball? That's just the
Stereotype.
yeah, that's just a stereotype. And me coming from an area where there's not as many people that look like me. It's like, dang, what if I can't do this? What else do I have to do? I don't know what else I'm gonna do. So I want to say, me being a rising freshman, that's when my mental health really started affecting me in a positive and negative way, I guess. Initially, I took it in a negative way, of course, because I was scared. I was a young kid. I didn't really know. But now I can say that propelled me to find other passions in my life other than just basketball, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. And I think that's one of the questions I was going to ask was, like, talk a little bit about your injuries and kind of the psychological aspect of rehab from your perspective. And it's interesting that you say that, because from a young age, it's like, in general, at an older age as well, you could experience this, but it's almost like an identity crisis, like you said.
Yeah.
Whenever you get injured, and the one thing that's like so meaningful and basically your entire life, you identify with it, which is basketball, is taken away from you. You're like, wait, I literally don't do anything else. Like, if I'm not in the gym, I'm watching film, or like I'm watching Ball is Life highlight tape, or like I'm watching an NBA game or a call, like whatever it is. So like your entire life is almost consumed by this. Not necessarily, I mean, it could be in like an unhealthy way, but
no, but that's the thing though. Like when I was little, I used to play 2K3 when Allen Iverson was on the cover, and I would learn everybody's height, weight, where they went to school, just because I was like, word, I want anybody to know. Oh, who's that guy? Boom, I want to know that I know. Like I was sickly obsessed with the game of basketball, and I wanted to be the best. Like I was like, I'm gonna be the GOAT.
yeah.
And so when I had a little bit of a reality hit, I was like, oh wow, what else is there? And that was at a young age for me. So yeah, it kind of took a toll on me a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It hit me hard because I was obsessed with basketball.
Yeah, and like a little while ago, I when I had my episode 2 with Atencio, we talked a little bit about like perspective and people that identify with Ball's life and things like that. Whenever they fail or do, like, for example, a perfect example is an injury. Like, if you identify with basketball and the game so much to the point that is your identity, then whenever it's taken away, like, you don't have anywhere else to go. So especially being a freshman or 8th grade rising freshman, with that kind of injury, like how do you feel like that molded your character? And I know you said you kind of got to see things that, like, new things that you were kind of engaged in and things that you liked, but how, like, negatives and positives, how was it as far as forming your character? How were you able to get past that adversity, and what are some things that you were able to do to cope with that?
I coped by
if you did.
Nah, I was like, all right, word. This was around the time, so D Rose had already had his ACL injury, and he was on his like second one, and that's when a lot of players in the NBA like was getting knee injuries. I think Ricky Rubio had one, Iman Shumpert had like the same one as me. So I'm thinking, oh, these guys are coming back. So I kind of wanted that was my edge, you know. I had a big chip on my shoulder, like, oh, I'm not a fluke. I'm still gonna be good after this. I'm still gonna be okay. But so that's how I coped with the, oh my God, I can't play ball. I can't. But I did take a break from watching basketball. And that's when I really stopped kind of being obsessed with it, watching the NBA and watching this and that. That's when I started watching other things and then just being a player some days and then being a person. And that's when I started growing. And I started watching anime. I started really being in the shoes. I started really being in the clothes. I started doing this and that. I started talking to people. I started really, because I used to have not a lot of friends. I used to be like, like that popular loner. Like I would used to just hoop. Like I used to just have my friends who were
Everybody
hoopers.
knew you, but you was always in the gym, so you weren't really hanging out with
I was
anybody.
like, I really wanted to hoop. Like I just hooping. Because that's, at the time, it's not a bad thing, but I was like, this is what I'm best at, so why would I not do it?
Yeah. Which, not to cut you off, but I don't know if you saw a little while ago, there was like a quote from Mikey Williams. And it was like, he was talking about prom or something. And he was like, why would I go to prom if I can just be in the gym? And like, there was like 4 NBA players that responded, was like, bro, go to prom, enjoy your night. Like, you can literally go to the gym anytime you want.
Yeah.
So it was like, in that way, in that sense, I think it's a little unhealthy because you're taking time away from like your actual life.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's what, I think that's where I would have gone to if I didn't go through that injury so early on. So, like, yeah, I went to prom. I went out and talked to the girl. I went out and hung out with my friends. Then that's when I started getting more friends. And so I'd like to say that positively, it was like a stepping stone for me. It was a big character development. It was a lot of character, and it molded my character. I knew that I was stronger. I knew that I was more than basketball. You feel me? I knew that life would, or not me itself was bigger than basketball. I'm not saying that, but my life had more aspects to it than basketball. I knew, hey, I'm not just a hooper. I can do this. I can do that. It was scary, and negatively it kind of hit my confidence hard, but in the long run it really uplifted me, and it was like, okay, man, if all else fails, you know, you're a talented and you're a smart kid, brother. You can do more, you know. That's so. It took a lot of confidence initially, but in the long run, it gave me a lot of hope and faith in myself.
For sure. And I don't know if this is at all correlated, but gonna tackle a couple things with this question. When you, like, obviously you mentioned you're biracial in a not so diverse community as Somersworth, to say the least. There is like a very white dominated area. I don't know if dominated is the right word there, but
Yeah,
predominantly white. There you go.
If you want to be political.
So my question though is, since before you and I even knew each other, from what you told me and from what I've visually seen, you often got misinterpreted. Your body language got misinterpreted as an attitude and just kind of like a bad teammate in some ways. And I don't know if that has to correlate with your play style, because obviously I know you like to play defense. You like to talk shit whenever you're in your bat. Like, everybody likes to do that. But do you think it's partly because of your ethnicity in a predominantly white area, or do you think just dive into that a little bit if you want, because I know we've talked about that a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it now, it's like I was always the hooper who was the real intense. Like, I wanted to say, hey, yo, like, even if I was friends with you, I'm not friends with you when we hooping against each other. So I was always just that guy who was just jabbing at you, trying to go crazy. And yeah, I always had that little edge. Of course, I had a couple friends who were like me. So especially when we were growing up in high school, but early on, I was like, yeah, I'm the only one like myself. I got to be the best. And then when we would play against, you know, other biracial kids from other towns, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I definitely have a chip on my shoulder, for sure. But yeah, the whole body language thing, like, I don't think I speak that language personally. I don't think I never tried to change my body language, this, that, and the third. I just have a face. If it looks mad, I might be happy. If it looks happy, I might be mad. Like, I tell other people this all the time. Like, my pops and my moms they don't even try to read my body language. So that's why I'm like, you better off just asking me. Even if it looks like, a lot of people say I'm not approachable, or a lot of people say I look mad on the court. But that's just because I'm focused, like, because I take it so serious and I'm so passionate about it, you know what I mean? But So, yeah, I think a lot of people would have thought I was a real edgy, like a dickhead. People, I can say that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, a lot of
explicit.
people think a lot of people thought I was a fucking dickhead, you know. So, like, I would make some people cry, and that also helped me being that type of person, being that really intense, really passionate person, really helped me learn. Okay, not everybody's like that, so you gotta learn how to approach people. You gotta learn how to be this. You gotta learn how to calm yourself down in a place. But I definitely struggled. Um, I definitely had my fair share of punching the walls, the padding on the other side, and saying, flipping out and getting teed up. But it wasn't. I never thought it was because I was a bad kid. I always thought it was just because I wanted to win more than I cared about anything to a fault, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, and it sucks because, like I mentioned, I played with him for 2 years. We also played a year or two of AAU together. So anytime he was on the bench or the locker room, he was the first teammate to like make sure somebody who was down was up. It was just the way that he went about things. That was kind of his MO. Like he was gonna be the guy who got on you. He was the quote unquote bad cop. Like him and I were both captains my senior year, our senior year. I was quote unquote the good cop. He was quote unquote the bad cop. Like he was gonna be the one in practice to call you out, like bitch you out, and I was gonna be the guy who came over and like, listen, like,
Hey man, yeah.
hey, you know what he's trying to say, but like you got to do better. This is what you have to be doing. So it just sucks that he got the bad rap, and I think it goes to say if you're a young hooper, college, whoever, even if you're not hooping at all, if you're a trainer especially or a coach, recognize that not everybody's gonna have the same kind of body language. And like Bryton said, he may not even, or the athlete might not even speak that language, a body language. So ask them if they're okay. If they're playing well, and maybe ask their teammates, hey, how do you feel about this player? How do you feel about this kid? If they're like, oh no, every single time he bitches me out, he makes sure I'm cool afterwards. Like it's all a part of the game. Then don't worry about it. But if it's something where it's like always negative, 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 and you never check up on somebody, which Bryton did, then maybe it's a problem. But I think it's interesting how, like, it kind of gets me into my next question. How do you feel like the way that coaches reacted to your body language and talked about it, felt about it, how do you think that affected your mental health and the way that you continued to mold yourself as a person and player?
A lot of the times, like being mentally tough was a big like question for me for a lot of adults around me, a lot of like coaches and I never understood that because I feel like I wanted to win as much, if not more, than them. So we were just different types of people. So he has to be the responsible because he's the leader of the team. He's the grown man, I can be that high headed kid in my eyes when I'm little. When I was younger, I was like I can be a little high headed because I'm still learning, I'm growing. It doesn't mean I'm not mentally tough. It means like I'm just real passionate, and I thought I handled myself very well at times, and then I would get told that I was doing something off, and then I would feel a little uncomfortable with making decisions and saying things and reacting in certain ways, and I would kind of second guess myself and second guess my own passion and my own like drive just because I didn't want to be questioned about being man. And I think that in turn made me less tough because I started to question myself. Like so I think a lot of the people who misinterpreted my body language or misinterpreted what I was trying to get across and how I approach things, I think that affected my mental health in the worst because they dealt with it in ways that either made me more angry or made me less mentally tough or put me in a position where I felt like I was being attacked, so I had to defend something that I really didn't need to defend. So it was just I was put in a lot of bad situations based on what I portrayed to the people unbeknowingly. and then they misinterpreted what really, I would have been chilling and somebody say, yo, why are you so messed up? Why are you so mad? And then now I'm getting mad because they assuming that I'm mad. You feel me? It was just some like that. So it kind of fucked me up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's like a domino effect at that point.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I feel like a lot of people can resonate with that, even from like a very general perspective. If it's like your relationship with your girlfriend or whatever. It's like if you walk in and your quote unquote body language is like a little bit down than it was like the other day, maybe like he or she comes up to you and like, yo, what's wrong with you today? And now you're like, I'm mad now because
now I gotta explain myself, and I was just thinking about something nice. But that's also me growing. I gotta be like, oh, I gotta take a step back, do this, that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of, we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but like the whole mentally tough thing and regarding like males, you know what I mean? Like you have to, as a man, you have to be mentally tough. But mentally tough, like mental toughness looks different for everybody. And the way that you display it, if you're a passionate person, maybe you like, however you decide to display that, you can still be mentally tough in adverse situations.
Yeah.
But if you're a little bit passionate and you want to scream at the ref one time to get it out, who cares? You know what I mean? Or if you're, I think people would determine mental toughness in flawed ways because, I mean, like you clearly can't be not mentally tough. You personally, if we won a championship, and the way that you and I, like quote unquote, ran the team, we didn't run the team. It was like a team effort, obviously, but like the way that we did our thing as captains was very successful, obviously.
Yeah.
And it just goes to say, like, everybody can hold themselves differently. Everybody can display themselves differently. Their mental toughness doesn't have to be this status quo. Not everybody's going to fit into a box. It's contextual to every single person, every single human. Especially players, like, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if they have shit going on at home, shit going on with their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. Just think about you. If you're a coach or a trainer, even if you're a player, think about your situation. And if you feel like you're being misinterpreted, which a lot of people probably do, have a conversation with the coach. And if it doesn't work out, like, figure something else out at that point. But I think the misinterpretation and trying to fit people into these boxes is like a huge problem in sports.
Yeah.
But to continue off of that, so after high school, ended up going to Plymouth State.
Yeah.
And from even there, so you went to Plymouth State, Division III in Plymouth, New Hampshire, out in the mountains, basically, right?
Yeah, snowy mountains.
Snowy mountains, the Panthers. So you ended up starting for as a freshman, first game. How many games do you start? Everyone before you got injured, right?
Yeah, I don't even remember the exact games, but I remember the preseason I was running with the starters. It was just a good energy. I had a bunch of freshmen around me who were in the same position as me. And now that I'm going to college, there was a lot of people that looked a lot more like me, man. Yeah. So I'm hanging out with other black people, the Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. It's not just white people. So it was cool. It was fun, and it was a good experience. And college, freshman year, Plymouth State, that's known for a party school. I kind of went I got a little party. I got a little party in me. That was the first time I really got a little party in me, and didn't really put basketball. I'd say then I didn't put 100% of the effort that I did in high school, just because I had a lot more aspects. And by then I knew, hey, I got a lot more going on in my life, not just basketball. I realized I'm just playing basketball because I'm good and I love it. It's not because I'm playing in the NBA in a couple years. So, reality had hit me at that time. So I started focusing on things other than just basketball. And, Plymouth State was a crazy time, crazy experience.
What was so the reason why I ask about your injuries, because unfortunately you've been ridden with injury a lot of your basketball career.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because up until I had surgery on my ACL, like I used to be that kid who toughed it out. Like I partially tore my ACL in 5th grade and played on it for 3 years. Even though my knee hurt, like I just wanted to keep playing because I was like, nah, I'm not hurt. So it's like I think a lot of the injuries that I didn't deal with early on kind of fucked me up in the back end.
For sure. And just to before we go over that, I mean, playing on an ACL, whether it was partially torn or whatever the case may be, for 3 years, especially at that age, we can call that mental fortitude for sure. That is mind over matter, because physically your body was saying, I don't want to do this no more, but mentally you were saying, I'm gonna get it done. So just some context behind your mental toughness, quote unquote, like
it's hidden, yeah.
Yeah.
My mental toughness is a hidden gem for sure.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, you were ridden with injury. It was your hamstring, correct?
Yeah, I pulled my hamstring pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it was the same hamstring that was used. I used a piece of my hamstring in my ACL surgery rather than a piece of cartilage somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know all the scientifics behind it. So, yeah, it was the same hamstring on my right side. So it's just real tight. Man, real tight. And it'd be taking, even nowadays, I'd be having to tighten up my hamstrings before the games, loosen it up a lot, stretch it out. And then I got hit with the hamstring, and then that kind of, I wasn't hooping, so now I'm just hooping, going to class, and then doing fun things with my friends. So then I'm like, all right, now I'm just trying to have more fun with my friends. And then I guess that's when my mental toughness my consistency and my due diligence kind of wavered once I got injured more and more. Because then I was like, damn, why do I keep doing this to myself if I'm going to keep getting hurt? And yeah, I've even had that experience in the last year or this prior year, this year right now. I was just injured and I'm on the comeback.
Yeah, my next question is kind of like, what, like, how do you, because I mean, you and I have had a lot of conversations, man. Like, we talk.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I've made sure, whether we're at the same school now, but whether we're not at the same school or we are, regardless, I want to make sure, like, I know a little bit about what's going on. So, like, you and I have talked about your injury, and it's been a battle, bro. And I feel like the combination between being injured and being at Plim, like you said, surrounded by kind of this party environment, especially within your own room. Not to say that it's not cool to party, but like the combination between being injured and not really having this drive, losing almost this love for basketball, and kind of switching over to this new chapter in your life, being like, all right, well, like, what's going to be after college? I don't even, because we could talk about that too. You didn't really know what you want to do in school either.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going to a school that you know that you can hoop at, and you get injured.
Mm-hmm.
So you still are kind of like finding that identity. You know, some hobbies that you like, some things that you care about, but you're still trying to put the pieces together. So being surrounded by a party environment, people that you still love and care about, but maybe not exactly what was great for you at the time, and trying to figure out what was better for you, and then transitioning to St. Joe's. What was that process like, and why did you decide to ultimately transfer?
It was a relatively smooth process, to be honest. But I did decide to transfer because, for me, I got like an addictive personality type stuff. So it goes with everything. It goes with my hobbies. It goes with my priorities. It goes with everything. So once at Plymouth, I had a class. It was like the history of art. It was called like Masks, Myths, and Identity. Something crazy. And it had a professor. And it just really showed me him, and that class really showed me, wow, I really like making art. I really like art. I really like that concept of art. I like art. I like fashion. I like this. I like that. And then that's when I was like, wow, I realized I'm passionate in something that's outside of an athletic scope. That's outside of something that I need to go do this for. I don't need to take no business classes and have just a regular ass, because I didn't know what I wanted to go to school for because I just went to school to hoop. So being injured, not being able to hoop, and then just having that social outlet, I was just like, wow, let me take some crazy courses. And I found out that I loved art, and then I was like, wow, I want to do art, but I want to be somewhere that I can focus on myself. You know, a little bit of a smaller school. I wanted to be a little bit of a area, even more in the middle of nowhere, kinda. And yeah, so I went to St. Joe's. And I went on the Sebago Lake, and there is an art program here. There's two great professors, Chris Sullivan and Scott Fuller. I really appreciate what they doing over here, and they just giving me a great outlet to learn and grow and become an artist and become what I really want to be. And then I still have the opportunity to play basketball here, but it's more focused, I think. I think there's not as much distraction for me personally. I know a lot of people can be successful. I know a lot of my friends who are successful right now at Plymouth, and I'm not taking anything away from that school. But for me, that was not the environment that
It's conducive to you.
that was suited for me.
Yeah, and I think that goes to say everybody has their own path. Everybody has a situation that should be right for them. It might not be the perfect fit because not everybody finds that perfect fit necessarily, but maybe Plymouth wasn't the greatest option for Bryton, and he decided to come to St. Joe's, and who knows if this is the quote-unquote right option for Bryton, but it's a better option than what he was at. And he's able to find a passion through art, and I mean specifically fashion design is your outlet, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the number one go-to for him right now, and that's kind of the new passion that he's decided to switch his focus to. He's still playing basketball, like he said, but it may be less priority, like less prioritized for him, which is so okay. The amount of people in this population that go pro is very, very minimal. So it's okay to prioritize your life outside of basketball, outside of sports. So I'm super proud of him for finding a passion like fashion design and art, and really taking a full head of steam, because I see it. Obviously, you guys may not see it. His Instagram is ygs.temp. So you could go see some of the stuff that he does. He posted every once in a while, but like the stuff that he's doing is very cool. It's very abstract. It's very on brand to Bryton, and he's able to reflect and display himself through art in an abstract way on fashion and on a piece of paper or whatever it is. So it's cool, and it goes to show that you can do things other than basketball and still have a positive outlet. Be passionate, and you don't have to be what you play. You're not a basketball player. That's what you do. That doesn't mean that's how you have to live the rest of your life, and that's not who you have to be.
Exactly.
But to kind of wrap things up with sports necessarily, what do you think, if you could sum up in like a couple words or a couple sentences, what do you think sports has done positively or negatively for your mental health? Or both?
Let me try. I think sports have positively impacted my outlook on my life by having me go through positive and negative things. And in all reality, I think it destroyed my mental health at one point, and it uplifted my mental health at one point. So I think it really showed me all aspects of my life, not just the good, not just the bad, but also all the ugly and also all the beautiful. It just showed me so much, and without sports, I don't think I would be as intuitive. I don't think I would be as passionate. I don't think I would even I don't even think I would be looking as good as I look. You know what I mean? Just it keeps me in shape. It keeps me grounded, and it keeps me growing every day. It gives me the opportunity to learn the good, the bad, and the ugly about myself and other people, and that's what they've done for me. Yeah.
I like that. Gives you a whole lifespan with about quarter of your life. No, I agree. I think, and I've already mentioned it, sports gives you this unique opportunity to almost accelerate your experience through things like little, very, very minute and minimal experiences, like how to treat a person on your team, how to be a good teammate, how to address higher ups like your coaches or athletic directors, things like that. You learn a lot of things. Losing, you can either teach yourself or have a coach that teaches you how to lose properly, how to win properly with class, things like that. So it's super important, and these are things that you take into life. But like I said, to move on from sports, do you want to talk about a little bit how, just because depression and anxiety and any other sort of mental health illnesses look differently for different people.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to talk about kind of what depression, what anxiety, what your mental health looks like for you?
For me,
Be as open as possible.
all right, like I'm not the type of dude that give up, right? Ever. I never been the type of dude to give up. But when I feel at my worst and when I feel very anxious and very just distraught, you feel me? Like I feel like, dang, I've given my all. What else can I give? So that's when I hit rock bottom. Is when I don't know what else. It's when I don't know the next step. And for me, it's like I feel like I've given everything I can give, and that's when I'm like, damn, am I no longer strong enough? Am I no longer like? Am I not enough for this? That's when I'm most. That's when I'm at my worst. When I start to question my own worth, because then it sends me down a Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole. That's just holy shit. A lot of destruction and not a lot of positive that comes out of that. And well, I feel like I learn and become my best when I go through bad things, but take good things out of it. And I feel like at my worst, I go through bad things and it just stays bad and gets worse and worse. I don't. It's when I don't find a way to push through. And for me, that's been a pretty big theme in my life, but I'm really learning, and that's a very big priority, and it's actually a very big passion of mine is to find my strength and to always never lose that confidence in myself, you know.
For sure. What are some things that you've done while dealing with mental health that has helped you in a positive way? And yeah, let's just do that. What are some things that you've done that helped you?
I always have a happy place. I have 3 to 4 things that they have nothing to do with each other. You don't need to think about one when you're doing another. And for me it goes like the watching anime. So it's like just the watching the creator, like I watch all that stuff. It goes making clothes, designing clothes, thinking about clothes, putting together outfits, and then it goes playing basketball, and then it goes to video games. And that's really it. Like, I don't know. And it's of course I have to have conversations with people, but for me myself to deal with something and to really focus on anything other than the bad, it's to just do something that I know that I'm comfortable not being the best at right now. Like with a video game, I know I ain't never gonna be the best 2K player. I know I ain't never gonna be the best Fortnite player. I know I ain't never gonna be the best, but I just know I'm gonna have fun, and I know that I have There's nothing that can take anything away from me for that. And I know for fashion, I'm not gonna be the Michelangelo, but I'm gonna be the best Bryton Early out there who designing fashion, you know. And I'm learning every day, and it's something that I can grow with, something that I can't get mad at, because you can't get mad when you're growing. I mean, you can, but like you're still growing. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I just try not to focus on it, and when I do focus on it, shit, when it's worst case scenario, man, I gotta sleep, because sometimes I lose sleep from it. So to all the dudes out there, bro, when you lonely and you tired, bro, cry yourself to sleep, bro, and go to sleep. You'll wake up tired. You wake up happy, bro. I swear to God. Yeah, I've done it before, and it's not like bad thing, but when you sad, sometimes you gotta let it out, and it's not always about doing something mean, to hitting, yelling, screaming. You just let it out, man. Ain't no shame in being sad. That's what I realized. And along this huge mental journey, there's no shame in being sad. There's no shame in saying something. There's no shame in feeling anything. I'll never feel bad for feeling the way I feel, ever again. And yeah, that helps me a lot too. So man, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of good things.
Yeah, I kind of said a lot right there. I didn't even run on sentence type shit.
No, but there was a lot of good things there. A big thing that I like is you were saying to be yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to feel. Don't be afraid to cry yourself to sleep. We're humans with emotions. We're supposed to do these things. But also, he mentioned 4 things that he does that may look differently for you, and it doesn't have to be 4. Maybe it could be 2. Maybe it could 3. Maybe it could be 3. But I think having certain things that whenever you feel maybe like a quote unquote red flag or like a trigger thing happening, that will trigger a depression, like a depressive episode, or makes you super anxious.
Yeah.
You have certain things that you can go back to that you know for sure will kind of ground you and bring you back to neutral.
Yeah.
And those things for Bryton are what he just listed: video games, watching anime, basketball, and creating clothes or some sort of art.
Yeah.
And like I said, it may look differently for you. Maybe you listen to a podcast like the TCP podcast.
Gang.
Maybe you listen to an audiobook. Maybe you listen to music. Maybe you go swimming. Maybe you play golf. I don't know what it is for you, what it looks like for you, but have something that you know that you can go back to every time. And that's what needs to stay consistent. In the first episode, I briefly mentioned that I had like a little point in time during like the true quarantine, the very first quarantine, where I went through it a little bit mentally as well. And there was a couple of things that I did that worked well for me, but also didn't work well for me. There would be times that I slept in until 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And that's not good that didn't work for me. You know what I mean? I woke up and I felt like there goes the entire day. I've been so non-productive already. How am I going to go about the rest of my day? So I already start off with a negative perception of the day because I wake up so late. So I started to try to wake up a little bit earlier and give myself at least a little to-do list, because there was literally nothing else you could do during quarantine. So maybe I need to watch an informational video. Maybe I need to listen to this podcast. Maybe I need to program for myself. Maybe I need to go for a run, because we can go on a run at that point, but we can't go in gyms. There's a whole bunch of things. I started to journal a little bit. Personally, I didn't like it. I'm trying to do it again now. Every single morning I'm trying to do these things. Just grow a little bit every single day as you can. Figure out things that work for you. Don't be afraid to try things that you might think is corny.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to meditate. Don't be afraid to read a book that is about spirituality. Don't be afraid to listen to a podcast about something crazy that's out of Indonesia and they do this crazy medicine technique or whatever it is, and you're like, that seems so weird. It's like if you're feeling mentally ill and you're struggling, why not try it? So I know Bryton can attest to that too. He's tried a lot of different things. Him and I've had a lot of different conversations.
Yeah, and things change. Like I used to rap, I used to write poetry, I used to dance, and it's not to say I don't do them ever now. It's just, it's just like you gotta start like experiencing, doing your own thing, like learn a new language, go talk to somebody that you never think you talk to ever, go travel somewhere, just go do something and experience something, because especially for me, when I'm in a depressive state or whenever I'm really sad, it's just like I have this notion, I have this thought, and like this cloud under my head that's saying, yo, there's nothing else for you. You can't do it. There's nothing to do. In reality, if I turn my back, if I go explore, turn a page, if I go down a different street, there's so much different things, there's so much different experiences in an everyday scenario. So you just need to go out there and do anything. Literally anything. You can sew. Oh, shit, I'm getting into sewing too now.
That's like there's just so much to do. And I think, obviously, this podcast is about performance in basketball, and some performance things in general. Lifting weights and exercising actually helps with depression, with mental illness. It's proven. You release dopamine, a hormone, and it just helps your entire body release some tension. You feel better if you go on a run. Go get around some sunlight, get some vitamin D, walk on the ground barefoot with walk in some grass, feel some sand between your toes. Literally do these things. Those things will help you feel some fresh air. And also the last thing that I'll leave you guys with is try to stay in the now as much as you can. Yeah. What you're doing right now is the most important. If you identify and resonate too much with the past or the future, that's your ego talking, and you're listening to your ego. You're letting your ego kind of make sure you are not happy. And if you're letting your ego dictate the rest of your life, that's when you're taken away from the now.
Exactly. Control what you can control. 100%.
Control the controllables. And whatever you're doing right now, literally right now, this exact second, this exact time in the day, wherever you are, that's when you will make a difference. Not in the future, because the future hasn't happened, and the past has already happened. You are making a difference now. What you're doing right now will affect the future. So make sure you are prioritizing the now. Make sure you're prioritizing yourself, putting yourself first. And understand that it's okay to struggle with things like mental health. Everybody does. Every athlete does. Every person does. It's okay, and you're human, and it happens. Make sure you're doing things for yourself to prioritize yourself in order to get past those mental struggles, though.
100%, boy.
You got anything else to leave the people with?
Man, just enjoy yourself, man. We all here for a reason, man. Ain't nobody like you. Do your thing, man. And I'll still hoop on y'all.
And we're out.